This is Darren Redmond for Redmond's Wrap Up, brought to you by FHT Sports. It's Friday, November 30th. A lot of people ask, hey, what are you doing for the weekend? What do you got planned? What are you doing? If you are Darren Redmond from FHT Sports, you're going to be noon tomorrow at the Fresno State men's basketball game against Cal Poly. Yeah, the time was changed. We're going to be there. Have you seen the team? Have you seen head coach Justin Hudson's team yet? If you haven't, you should. Wednesday night in front of 5,400 people. It was a thrilling game, back and forth, ebb and flow, and Fresno State in overtime was able to beat Pacific, which you might say, wait a minute, shouldn't they beat Pacific maybe easier? Well, you need to remember, put things in context. This is one of those trap games, or was one of those trap games, and Coach Hudson did not let that happen. His team did not allow that to take place. They're coming off of a tournament in Hawaii. Now, if you've never taken that flight before, it literally, no excuses, can be exhausting. Especially playing 3 games in the course of a couple of days, flying back, hitting traffic, everything else, get the homework done, get the studying done, because remember, these are student athletes, and then come out in front of some home fans against Pacific. One could very well excuse not lack of effort, but lack of outcome. But the tenacity that the men's basketball team at Fresno State showed by defeating Pacific was wonderful to watch. It really was. I want to just make sure I get my notes right here. If you look at the job that Sam Bittner did, for example, senior, and this guy, he was all over the court. And when you say, what do you mean all over the court? Well, how about this? 40 minutes plus overtime, so 45 minutes. He played for 36 minutes. Absolutely played for 36 minutes. So, with 16 points on the night, I really enjoyed watching Lazaro Rojas play because he had 9 hard-earned points, but he was a defensive force. And not only was he blocking shots, but they went into transition. So if you saw, there was a couple of times, for example, with Deshawn Taylor, who hit a huge shot late in the game and then hit a clutch free throw at the very end of the game, because the rookie sensation for Pacific, I want to make sure that I get his name right, Arare Sani, he had just 32 points on the night, but a buzzer beater to put the game into overtime. Think about it. If Deshawn doesn't make that free throw after getting fouled, this game was over. But what did Fresno State do? They would get ahead early. 11 points, 9 points, 8 points, back to 10, back to 11. And then Pacific was chipping away. But the lead never got away from Fresno State until the very, very end. 1 point differential, about 46 seconds left. But Fresno State stayed true. And Coach Hudson has this team playing like a team. Make sure you come and watch this team play. So what happens? Most of the shots, and I want to get it absolutely correct, were from the paint. 14 points in the paint in the first half alone from Fresno State. 14 points in the paint. I want to make sure that I have it right. 6 in the second half. Now, the bench, and there's a lot of reasons. Again, this is why you look at stats. You need to take stats with a grain of salt, because you can't just look at the number. You need to look at the context. 4 points off the bench. 4 points off the bench. But again, you had a lot of the people, playing for the majority of the game. 4 points off the bench compared to 27 for Pacific. So I'm sure that will be, taken care of. We had Braxton Higgins had 17 points on the night. And Deshawn, I mentioned Deshawn and his big play. Remember this? We saw this after going. No, I'm not saying look at my muscles. This is what Deshawn did when he was clutch. It was great. It was absolutely great. And he had 22 points on the night. So we played Cal Poly. Yeah, Cal Poly's a rival for Central Valley supremacy. Who has the better college? Where's the better place to go? And no disrespect to Cal Poly, but it's just a place where people go, but it's not Fresno. And our hope is that we'll get some home cooking here tomorrow and watch Fresno State go 5-2 on the year. Watch Rojas. Rojas is going to be doing some things. like I said, he was a force in the paint. And when he wasn't just blocking shots, when he was taking steals and blocking the shots and picking up the ball and rebounding, he was getting the ball out quickly in transition. And we use the word quickly, but it was not rushed. It was not rushed. It was really great to see. Something else that was very, very apparent, and you heard Paul Loeffler talk about it. And is there anybody really better than Paul Loeffler doing what he does? He makes you feel like you're watching the game, and he gives you detail, but at the same time, he makes it almost like a song to listen to, isn't it? And it's just so good. He had a question during the post game, and he was sitting there with Coach Q, and he said, "What happened?" Because there was some problems in trying to shoot the threes and the perimeter shots during the game. And I mentioned earlier how there was a lot of shots from the paint, but in the overtime, Fresno State was bombs away, and from distance. And they weren't the kind that was hitting backboards. Running. This was the kind where you go, no look, no net. I mean, just swoosh, right? For those of you who played the old video games. So it was a great game to watch. It was a great game to be part of. Another person that kind of stood out, I thought, was Nate Grimes. He did that tough work that you really don't see a lot of times, in the score sheet. And he was a force as well, on that hardwood. So tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to be there. FHT Sports will be there. And come out. Let's get that 5,400 on Wednesday night. Let's try to get that, if not more, double it. Why not? It's great. It's going to be a great season right now. I mean, you see what Vegas is doing, the Mountain West Conference. Fresno State hasn't finished under at least fourth place in the last couple of years. Why not finish first in the Mountain West? Is there really a reason why they shouldn't? Not that it's going to be easy, but this is a well-coached team. It's a fun team to watch, enjoyable, and they play team basketball. After that, go find a nice place to sit, relax, and watch the Fresno State football team beat Boise State and win that Mountain West Championship. This is Darren Redmond for FHT Sports. Like, subscribe, share. What do you think? Have you been to a game yet? What do you think of the men's basketball team? And, who's your favorite player? What do you think is going to happen this year? So we'll see you. If I see you, I'd love to shake your hand, say hello, high five. And we'll see you at Savemart Center tomorrow at noon. So this is Darren Redmond from Redmond's Wrap Up, brought to you by FHT Sports. We'll talk to you soon.